Past performance does not indicate future results. This has nothing to do, what I'm going to talk about today has nothing to do with money, with stocks, with Bitcoin, doesn't matter. Although technically it's true, especially with Bitcoin. I just have this Bitcoin chart up here just for your amusement, so you don't have to just look at me talking. You can look at this beautiful 1 minute chart where you can see the price change, although the price isn't really there. You can see these nice bars. Okay, well, anyways, no, I have a story I want to tell you, but actually, I'll start off with this. Everyone's fucked in the head. Okay, I'm sorry to use that language. I'm sorry to speak in Greek. Okay, everyone has trauma. Everyone develops trauma. You know, it's unfortunate, actually. I think it's not necessarily true all the time, but it's definitely true 99% of the time for most people anywhere in the world, regardless of what race or ethnicity, which gender you are. It's a people. It's not even a people. It's an individual person, thing, animal, whatever thing. Okay, everyone goes through trauma, and the worst part is, usually you are ill-equipped to handle trauma, and this trauma ends up affecting the way you think, the way you talk, the way you interact with people. It affects, your psyche. Unfortunately, okay, usually what I would say is, you're getting psyops. Okay, this is the language. That's the language that makes the most sense to me, but unfortunately most people don't have that kind of vernacular because it sounds like you're this kooky conspiracy theorist. You're getting psyoped. Yeah, well, why is... Okay, well, anyways, that's beside the point. Everyone goes through trauma, and what you got to do is learn to let go. I'm trying not to swear, okay? You got to learn to let go. I'm going to tell you this story, okay? I became an ex-friend. That's right. Not an ex-boyfriend, although that is true multiple times. I became an ex-friend. That's right. Most people, when they want to get rid of someone in their circle, someone who they don't like, or finally is grating on them, what they do is they exclude them from whatever activities that they partake in. So they just fade away slowly, right? And that's just what happens, which is pretty normal, and that's good in some ways. But, no one usually makes a declaration, yeah, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, or we can't be friends anymore. So I'm going to talk about, we're going to call him Bob, okay? I met Bob back in, let's just say, college. And over the years, we've hung out a couple times, but the last time I saw him was 2018. Or 2018, 2019, something like that. I think it was 2019, actually. And, I'm someone who talks a lot, can talk so much that I might end up becoming a monologue. And over the years, I've recognized to scale that back if I ever catch myself talking too much. Sometimes to a fault where people are like, no, keep going. I want to keep hearing you. Right? Some people are just really enthralled by the way I talk. Some people get kind of antsy because they find the way that I talk is a bit of a nuisance. But anyways, with him, the last time I saw him, or last time we hung out, you know what guys do. It's like, hey, what's new? What's shaking? Blah blah blah. Like, are you still what are you doing with work? Talk about chicks, all that kind of stuff. And we end up talking about this subject of moving out. Well, he was telling me, yeah, I went to Thailand. Like usually I ask because I know I can be I can be very burdensome when talking because I just talk so much. Usually I ask other people to tell me what they have done first so they can tell me what's interesting. And so they can, this is how you win people over. You let other people talk first. So that's what I did. But this time he didn't really want to talk, so I just kept going on and on. I was like, why are you, in my head, I was thinking, why do you even want to hang out with me? But nonetheless, at some point, we talk about moving out. And for me, at that point, I was like 7 to 9 months out to moving out permanently. It's like I'm very blessed to be moving out here, but and then he tells me, yeah, no, I was out. I moved out for a whole year. I even went to Thailand and practiced. I went there to learn how to do kickboxing. I was like, yo, that's really cool. Is that what you want to do? MMA and stuff like that? He's like, yeah, I want to fight, blah blah blah. And okay, that's really cool. Like I've never, I judge people all the time, but I never judge them in front of their face. And I try not to ever say the judgments. I always keep it internally, and I try to keep it not painful, not hurtful. So I try not to judge people in public or even in private. Okay. Uh, but what he was talking about was legitimately cool to me. But it was really weird because at some point he was incredibly insistent. You need to move out right now. I'm just like, bro, I'm moving out in like 9 months. I'm not gonna move out now and then move again in 9 months. Like, have you ever moved? Like, anyone who's ever moved knows that's a bitch. Like, that's a lot of effort. Like, have you ever moved furniture? Like, that's the worst thing. Like, it's hard to get people. Like, if you have a friend that'll help you move furniture, that guy's like legit, like your best man at your wedding. Okay, like moving furniture is no joke. And so this guy tells me, okay, you need to move out. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, it doesn't make sense. Financially, it doesn't make sense. That's the biggest thing. And either way, it's happening no matter what in 9 months. It's like, it's guaranteed. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And we get into this argument for like an hour. And I dismantle everything he says. I'm just like, it's just, like logically speaking, it's just illogical. There's no rationale for me to move out now. And at some point, he gets really upset. And we get to Seconds Beach. I think that's what it's called here in Vancouver. And it's in the spring, so or it's I think it's like mid spring, late spring, I don't remember, but we get there, and he's like, bro, you just you dismantled every argument that I had for you to move out. I'm just like, yeah, of course, because it just doesn't make sense, right? And like this is two guys talking. I could be sexist here, but like usually guys like to think in like pros and cons, is logical, illogical, sometimes to a fault, right? But in this case, moving out just didn't make sense. Like I'm saving money, I'm moving out on my own no matter what. It doesn't make sense. Like there's no hurry, right? He's like, yo, you know what? I can't be friends with you. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm like, okay, all right, what else? Whatever. I'm like, dude, like, why would you? Okay, whatever. So we end up splitting our ways, and here I am years later. Occasionally I think about that because it's just so surreal. It's not. I don't know. Surreal is not the right word, but it was just so illogical. And finally, what I was talking about moments earlier about this whole thing about people carrying baggage, like essentially people are walking. Like walking coping machines. And this is exactly, and over the years, even though I understood inherently without understanding how to phrase it, like over the years, I finally understand how to phrase it. Like everyone's just coping, everyone's just having coping behaviors every day. It's like they just want to be avoidant. The people don't want to have to like deal with like past trauma, because essentially, I realized moments ago, earlier today, just like hours ago, I was like, wait a minute. He's probably acting like this, most likely because there is a trauma that has happened in his life, whether it's a single incident or over a period of time where he had suggestions, and mind you, he quote unquote broke up with all his other friends too. From what he told me, okay, I was probably one of the last dudes that he broke up with. It's so fucking funny to just phrase it like that. But over the years, no. Sorry, I'm losing track. But yeah. Like he's probably had some disagreement, especially with his family. That's the thing that I got. That's the idea that just came into my head. Like he probably has all these, decisions. Like he wants to live his own life, and when he finally did, he want to tell other people about it. but he was so insistent upon it that it was forceful, that he wanted to force it upon someone else, and so much so that he would lose he would rather lose those friendships where if they didn't listen to him, he didn't want to be friends with them, you know, which to me, you know, and I think he doesn't have a positive. I recall something about his parents and stuff like that, you know, that where he didn't have a good relationship with either of them, and that's when I realized, like, this guy is just acting out. You know, he's just fucking acting out. And not only that, I think he has the MAOA genes. I think that's the correct term. Let me look this up real quick. MAOA gene, which is essentially, it is commonly called the warrior genes, I think. Either way, he gets angry real easily. He gets frustrated very easily. And he likes the whole violence thing, which is cool, actually. I like, I mean, I don't like violence. I like self-defense, okay? I like fighting. I like boxing. I don't know very much about it, but it's very cool. Self-defense is really brilliant, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know, I think there's some family trauma that everyone can learn something from this. Don't become an ex-friend. No. What you want to do is learn to become free from your trauma. Okay? I don't care what happened to you. You have to be able to be a free individual that isn't going to make ex-friends all over the place just because they have disagreements with you. I will end off this story. I don't know how much more I have to say, but I will end off the story with this. I just saw the guy a couple of days ago. You know, I was waiting to meet someone else, and out of that same exit, within 1 minute of time difference, before I saw that person, I saw, I think I was going to call him Bob. I saw Bob literally a minute before meeting someone else. And I just saw, like, literally, he hasn't seen me in a long time. And you know, I was like, maybe he's cooled down or whatever. No, he hasn't, because he came down that escalator. We both saw each other a good like 20 seconds beforehand. And he came down. I looked at him, and you know, I just did this. And he's just like, fuck you. Like, he literally, like, what is it, like 30 yards, 20 yards away. He's like, fuck you. I'm just like, okay. You know, yeah, flipping the bird does nothing to me. Like, it literally does not, it does not affect me emotionally in any way. Like, you have to insult me. Like, I'm at an intellectual level where you have to get under my skin in order to, you know, hurt me and make me feel bad. Otherwise, this is just a humorous story that is just so stupid, you know. Oh God. But you know, he is unstable, right? And I think now in this case, I don't really care about him. But I think for you, whoever is watching this, you know, now that I'm a lot more mature, I would have handled that a little bit differently, or quite a bit differently. That story, that whole story. But what you need to come out and understand is for you to find out what your trauma is. But more importantly, you know, okay, most importantly, deal with your own personal trauma. Okay, but second of all, realize that everyone, like 99% of people have trauma. And what you need to do is take advantage of it and try to help people get, I mean, it's not your duty to help people get out of it, but if they want to, like that's on you. Sorry, I just had dinner. That's on you, okay? But more importantly, what did I have here? Most conflict is avoidable and manipulatable. Manipulable. You can manipulate people's trauma in order to attain success. I think that might be true, but it's better to get people out of trauma mode, out of coping mode. Everyone's a fucking coping machine. You know, it's tragic and sad, but it is the way that it is, and I don't see that changing, not for a very long time. And really, it starts with us. I think We're about 15 minutes in. I do want to slightly, derail this by saying this is all. I didn't tell you this. I guess humorous story, just because I wanted to like get this off my chest or something like that. I've told a bunch of people about this. They're just like, "What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense." I'm like, "Yeah." Um, no, this is about leadership. No, the importance of this is I'm just thinking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line here because if everyone's a walking coping machine, then you have to realize that you can deal with people who are coping all the time if you can recognize that they're in coping mode. And you have to find out, how can I deal with this? How can I lead whatever it is that I'm dealing with into a place of success if I can recognize and take advantage or help them escape. I'm using take advantage, the kind of vernacular that I use, most people would think it's like in the negative form. No, I just like to use that vernacular because I don't know, it's most accessible to me. Yeah, you can manipulate people into success, right? Or your group or lead people into a positive direction if you can help them realize like, oh, I need to overcome this thing. Like, or I need to get this guy out of here because if he doesn't change, he's going to cause more problems. So, what am I going to do, right? Yeah, leadership. Leadership. I think I'm going to try to make more. I haven't been posting in a long time, mostly because I've just been dealing with my own shit, and also I've been thinking a lot about money. I even though I'm not in poverty, I do not like being poor. So a lot of my days were thinking about money, but it's not something we have much control over currently. So I'm just gonna lay low on that and try to make more videos on leadership and try to be someone who is worth listening to, even though my ideas are most likely correct. I have to live in them aside from just saying them. So I guess I'll see you in the next leadership video.